Okay, we got it working finally. Sorry, y'all. No, it's a waste of your guys' time. But we're gonna start it from the beginning. YouTube.com. Snitch City. That's what we'll look on. We're actually, it's funny, Minnesota was, we were featured in Drugs Inc. actually. Drugs Inc. Snitch City. It's funny because we're known as Snitch City. Okay, so, this doesn't even have anything to do with it, but I'm kind of interested in this. No audio, though? What's going on? What's going on, kid? What's going on, kid?
You know what I mean? Like Broadway. Traffic. You know what I'm saying? That's where a lot of people getting whacked. You know what I'm saying? It's just...
Oh, that's funny.
You gotta keep your head focused.
Shit getting crazy.
Yo, so I had a dude that supposedly...
You know what I'm saying? That's...
You know what's funny? I have picked up dope right here, this parking lot. Huh, that is so funny. That's actually a huge coincidence. It was a brief plug I had, and he had this really good, like, I'm pretty sure it was car fentanyl dope. This was like 2017, 2018. It was like right when fentanyl started becoming really big in Minnesota.
People getting whacked, you know what I'm saying? It's just, but you got to keep your head focused.
Shit getting crazy out here, man. Motherfuckers dying, all types of shit. I mean, if you over north, and you hanging around with the wrong crowd, you know what's gonna come with it.
Right.
So, I mean, that's
He's right about that, man.
Whoever chooses to go that way.
Minneapolis ain't no joke.
Yeah. Especially it's everywhere, but it's here too. You gotta remember, we're up north.
It's not as bad as down south, but at the same time, end up in one of them suburb cities and see how they treat you. True. I swear to God, I've been places for them. I done got out something new, brand new. It ain't like I'm jumping on no bucket or something. I'm talking about something brand new, and they hit their lots when they see me.
What they should know is like, if you come here, you better off just like doing your own thing. Don't join nobody else, cause people be like followers up here. It ain't worth it. It's definitely not worth it, bro.
It's just getting wild, bro. Feel me? Like, a lot of us gotta, like I said, we gotta come together. But
yo, say your name in the chat. If you're in the chat, let me know you're here.
They out here.
We'll get some dialogue going.
I show you. We probably get into that a little bit later, but little cameras up. It's kind of just. Man, just sabotaging us, man. You feel me? Like just sabotaging and making things like uncomfortable, but making you feel comfortable. Some weird type of stuff going on.
What up, CV God?
And it's like, man, what can you do other than
Yo, CV, where you from, bro?
Pitfall of that trap.
You gotta be more worried about the police than your op. I'm not even trying on these niggas. Like I said, I'm welcome anywhere I want to go, but getting there is the problem. The law is the ones in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm gonna be honest. What Landro's mom said yesterday was the truth. She like they coming for us. I mean, that's what they telling me. They're telling me at any time they could pull me over. And don't even got their story straight. And don't even got their story straight. Just murk you because they want to. Why was the reason why that cop said that he pulled that brother over? Because he had a wide nose and he looked like the suspect. That's every black person in America.
The city, as far as the community, could be better, but we working on it. We working on making the community better than what it is. It's got to be positive impacts and people like myself that's uplifting, trying to really come through.
Alright, well, anyways, I'm going to show you guys Drugs Inc. Minneapolis. I'll just show you guys a brief clip. Drugs Inc. Minneapolis. They even got it? Is this it?
Dealer Ace has to work out of sight.
A lot of my customers, I sample a lot of my customers. I power trip a lot. That's something that I do. I want to keep control over everybody, you know? Like, when I say do something, you do it. Hey, what's up, bro? You're up. Your turn. But don't hit the door on the wall, bro. Punch you in the mouth.
Within 6 minutes, Ace and his female accomplice have done 3 deals. It's time to move on. He's a man in demand.
Going back to the hotel.
Drugs Inc. Snitch City. I can't find Snitch City. Whatever. Let's see which one this is. I'll see if this one or these are the same people I used to go through.
I'm Nick Nimmin, and I'm a StreamYard user. For the last 6 years, I've been live streaming consistently to YouTube.
Well, it sold 5,000 hits of heroin each month, but a takedown in North Minneapolis has put a major ring of dealers out of business and behind bars.
Federal and local agents arrested 8 people who were part of a drug network called The Crew. Most of them from Chicago. They've been selling heroin on the streets of Minneapolis for the past 2 years.
That's who I was just talking about.
Annual sales were more than $1.5
you guys,
million.
I was just talking about that. Okay, The Crew. I don't know if anyone was here in the live stream when I talked about how I went from black tar to my first heroin dealer, my first China white heroin dealer. They got busted and sold their phone number to The Crew. These people right here, the biggest heroin bust in Minnesota history.
7 with just a couple of cell phone numbers.
This was a 24-hour-a-day retail heroin sales organization.
24 hours a day.
Law enforcement
you
it was a cooperative.
You could literally buy dope at any time during the day, like he just said. Like you could, literally, you could go there at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and they had 25 different delivery drivers.
Chicago-based drug gang that made ordering a hit of heroin as simple as placing a phone call.
The way this would work is you would call one of 2 different phone numbers that were known as dispatch phone numbers, almost like you were calling a cab or you were ordering food.
The group of 8 dealers called themselves The Crew. They'd meet customers at 5 main street corners in North Minneapolis. All are now indicted in property, including vehicles were seized. At $40 a bag, they'd attract a lot of customers from surrounding suburbs.
You guys, I want to know, do you guys in your cities have operations like these too? Because I didn't know if this was just a Minneapolis thing or what but I don't know, man. Just shit's crazy.
Every single one of these deaths and overdoses that we're experiencing throughout our metro area
24
is preventable.
The growing demand for heroin is showing up in overdose deaths, doubling every couple of years. Hennepin County had 7 in 2010.
See, and that looks like fentanyl, you guys. But they didn't. There was no fentanyl in this shit back then. I know that because I'd gone to detox many times and I would get drug tested and I never had fentanyl. It was always just heroin.
Last year.
Heroin is always there.
Trish Thacker is program director at the Salvation Army's Hope Harbor. She sees busts like this one as saving lives.
It's highly addictive. 10% of people can become addicted to alcohol. Something like 100% of people can become addicted to heroin in a really short period of time.
Yeah, that's
incredible. Now, according to investigators, the 2 main ringleaders, Richard English and Milton Ingram, would make twice monthly trips to Chicago to pick up the heroin, selling around 5,000 individual hits each month. Frank, most of those to teenagers and young adults.
Well, glad it happened. You know, hey, Bill, we reported on this big bust in April where they arrested like 100 dealers, and now we have this thing today. What kind of impact is that making on how much heroin is out there and available?
Yeah, we asked that. However, it's really hard to measure just yet.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is like, I don't know. It's just, it seems like nowadays, like people are veering away from like the large scale dealing, and there's a lot more. It's easier to get drugs now, but there's a lot more smaller dealers that are like kind of just pocketed around the city. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, it was just like huge operations, ridiculously huge operations. And I just think logistically and just like realistically, it's not a good way to do it. And it blows your shit up too much. So I think people kind of veer away from that. But I don't know. It seems like I don't know. It's like people are veering away.
What they will say is that the cooperative effort between local, state, and federal law enforcement is going to keep turning the heat up on dealers. And of course, it's just a matter of time before the drug gets harder and harder to find.
Bill, thank you.
When you plan and schedule your social media with Later,
what'd you say, CV, what'd you say? You said some phone numbers are worth hundreds of thousands. I wouldn't sell my number for 10 grand, maybe like 25 to 30. Yeah, it's Dominicans I get it from, so it's the same thing. 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Dope, crack, soft, and Fetty pills. Never longer than an hour. Yup. That's how it is too. Yeah, we're in my city. Like the last dude I was getting it from, he sold meth, coke, crack, Fetty, and weed. Like, so he pretty much sold everything. It's crazy how it's turning into a one-stop shop everywhere. But yeah, man, I wanna look up more of this ISO heroin. See, it's this ISO shit, man.
Some 81,000.
This ISO shit.
Fighting the opioid crisis in Tennessee has gotten even harder during this pandemic. Just take a look at the increase in the number of deadly overdoses in Nashville since the start of COVID-19 compared to the same time period last year.
Crazy.
If that isn't enough, News Channel 5's Matthew Torres tells us a new drug has officials very concerned.
This new synthetic opioid first appeared in East Tennessee in January, and while the number of cases is small right now, health officials in Davidson County are already keeping an eye out.
Everything gets complicated and more complicated and more complicated.
But Metro Opioid Response Coordinator.
Well, yeah, CV. The weird thing about, well, I don't know why I keep saying the weird thing about, but like ISO, you know, like when I was relapsing a month or so ago, I was looking on the dark web trying to find better deals on opiates, and like you can't find Fetty anywhere. It's all this ISO shit. It's ISO, meso. There's a bunch of them that are in that class of drugs, and they're lipophilic. And what lipophilic is it stores in your fat. So like that's why people are not able to take Suboxone for like weeks after they've done it, because it stays in your system for so long. And Suboxone is becoming like a drug of the past because it's just not compatible with these new opioids that are on the market. It sucks.
Coordinator Trevor Henderson worries the job will get
really
more
sucks.
Complicated.
I mean,
he's been analyzing
these
fentanyl as the
new
major driver
fentanyl,
of overdose
like
deaths,
fentanyl,
but he fears a new drug just
analogs,
as strong, if not stronger,
ISO,
is on the horizon.
They're making Suboxone just
public
unusable.
health and first responders and hospitals.
And
it's very concerning.
Like I always go back to, this is gonna just keep continuing as long as drugs are illegal and we're prohibition on drugs. This is always gonna happen. It's common sense.
This month, he's been alerting local law enforcement and the medical examiner's office about isotonitazine, a synthetic opioid that hit the U.S. last summer, but it finally reached Tennessee and Knox County this year.
we still have many cases from April 24th to now that we're still waiting on toxicology results on. So we expect those numbers to rise.
Chris Thomas is with the Knox County Regional Forensic Center. Since January, there's been 8 deadly overdoses that had isotonitazine in their system.
Typically, these drugs have been combined with other drugs. It's not that this is the only thing we're finding in their system.
It's so new, more research is required. It's not even in the DEA's list of controlled substances or emerging threat report. But public health officials warn it has the potential to cause widespread harm.
It shouldn't be ignored. While it is in a minimal amount of cases, it's one of those things, if it's left undocumented, unregulated, unresearched, it could easily take over.
Even though there are no known cases in Nashville so far, Henderson's already asking first responders to be ready to keep track.
The fact that I'm alerting our partners to start looking out for this, I think tells you that I would expect that we will see it. To what extent, we do not know.
The Metro Public Health Department has now asked the medical examiner's office to start screening for this drug. It was so new in Knox County,
guys,
it needed a more
I tried to do a live stream with
specialized
StreamYard
to confirm the drug.
So I don't know if like any of you guys want to come on the show and talk. Just email me at geraldluke@gmail.com. I'd like to have someone on the show. You know, I haven't done that yet. That was kind of the purpose today, but everyone seemed to be shy. That's totally fine too. So yeah, maybe I don't know. CV, do you what do you think I should make some new videos on, bro? Or what? Like, I need some ideas for live streams and videos. Like, I definitely got an idea for a video I'm gonna do tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, I got one idea, but I need more. Yeah, the withdrawals are brutal, bro, because I've done it before, and the withdrawals don't start for 3 days, but they last like weeks. Like all